So could I invite Jeff to close, and could you welcome him in the usual manner?
You can see how much my staff love me. Actually, you said all the things I was going to say, so I'm almost kind of wiped out. All the jokes about standing between a freezing group of people and mulled wine and all of that stuff, and you've said it. So, I scrolled down a whole pile of notes here, and I don't know quite what I'll make of them, because this is as a consequence of listening to the conference today and the ideas that have come up. So I'll see if I can try and turn them into some sort of coherent order. But I did want to say, and I said this to several people at lunchtime, and I was really struck by it. I mean, this is a meeting of people from so many disciplines and roles across the university, and it's not unique, but it's very unusual. And I think that this conference often achieves that really unusual blending that you very, very rarely see. And I think that's a real tribute. Actually, that's a real tribute to the IT Futures group and things, that they manage to find topics and they get speakers and they get an audience that spans these different areas. And, the problem sometimes for suits like me, and today's a suit day. Tomorrow's a suit day because all my neighbours wear jeans on a Friday, and I always wear a suit on a Friday. It's one of those things. But out of this comes not just the discussion and the interest, but there's a to-do list here of stuff that you go, right, as a university, we're going to have to do something about some of these things. I mean, this is a conversation that's going on in lots of places, and I think that we are at a kind of crux in terms of a complacency, I suppose, in some senses, about the ease with which one can collect data. It gets collected whether you like it or not. Somebody said, I think it was Jesse who said, oh my God, my phone knows where I am. But of course your ATM card knows where you are, and Tesco know where you are, and all of that kind of stuff. So this stuff is being collected, and the softwares we buy gather data. And in lots of ways, we look upon that as a neutral act. But there is no such thing as a neutral act of data collection. We don't collect it in a random way. It is actually selected and gathered and has been defined in a purposeful sense. And there are messages around that. And actually, I was reflecting on the implications for the university of the sorts of conversations we have. And I was very struck by the panopticon prison. If you take that metaphor to us and our view of the data that we gather and the things that we collect, and I take Charles's point about it's not just about the individual, the people in the cells, it's about that community. In other words, is there a privacy and a right for that community? What would a panopticon university look like? And the data we gather and the surveillance that we do, and it is surveillance, this gathering of it, actually, what would it be like in an institution where all of that stuff were collected and gathered and were used, perhaps theoretically to the benefit, but nevertheless there is a loss to us, perhaps, or a risk to us in that point. And I think that there are some things we need to think about just about ourselves as an organisation, in some of the things that we can now do and can choose to do or choose not to do, and how we handle it has to be ethically informed and has to be reflective. And I think that, therefore, it's reflection that came out of a lot of the things today, that this is hard stuff. There aren't simple, straightforward answers. There are tools in the research armoury, although those research armouries, and it was interesting, those research armouries are ageing and becoming less fit for purpose as time goes on, and the rules and regulations that we have, legislation, etc., are ageing rapidly, and so it's quite difficult for us to retain what Sarah was saying, was that we are trusted, perhaps rightly or wrongly, but we are trusted and expected to behave with integrity, Yet nevertheless, we are challenged by all of these opportunities and the things that go on. And then if one steps back to what Brian was talking about in terms of the security of the data and the role of the university and the role of the individual, we have all of that sitting in all of our management of the data, not just the security of it, but what we collect and how we use it, how we present it. And it's incumbent on us as an academic community, I think, to reflect on that and to put processes in place for ourselves so that we manage ourselves, I suppose, in some senses, as a model of how we would like to be seen. So we've talked about open, and we've got an initiative on open data running. I don't think Ewan's here, but Simon and I are working with Ewan about university open data. There's open, where we are collaborative and expected to be collaborative. We're expected to be robust and secure. And we're expected to be trustworthy, but at the same time institutions are exhorted to be agile and innovative, which tends to go against that slower, more reflective and more careful process. So I think that there's a significant challenge as we step into doing data science, mashing up data, gathering data sets, working with commerce, working with government, working internationally. There's a real challenge for us, and a dialogue like this, a discussion of this kind, is actually going to be important to us to keep running and to ensure that the whole of our university community, because citizen science applies to us in what we do. It's not just what lay people out there do. We see lots of signs, in a sense, of citizen science, citizen research being done by ourselves because those data are there and we can use them. We are part of that exercise of, if you like, lay research and lay science. So I think that this is the start of a reflection and a discussion, and somehow we need to maintain this. I'm hoping that because we've got Edinburgh Data Science as this big umbrella, that is one of the places where we can perhaps keep this dialogue running. The vision was that there would be 1,000 members of academic staff who would be involved in data and as part of Edinburgh Data Science. And I want to stretch that and say, OK, and another 1,000 from the support services, because this is, it's not just an academic endeavour, that we need that discussion within here, because I think that will help inform not only how we do the research, not only how we do the public engagement, but also how we run ourselves as an organisation in a way that 5 or 10 years from now, we look at ourselves and we're comfortable as you can be, with the way that we operate in this very changed and quite difficult world. So the last thing really I think I want to say is that I would like to really, really thank the IT Futures folks, because it's a tough task to deliver this. I think that this is a strikingly good example, and so I'm really pleased that, although it may be the last time I stand here with actually what I think is one of the best. So thank you very much indeed.